Oh. Hey. Josh.
Hi, Josh.
Hi.
What are you guys doing?
We're having a Josh clan meeting.
Oh, okay. Well, speaking of clans, have you heard of the clan of Abraham?
The portion of the book of Genesis known as the Ancestral narratives transitions from a broad scope of God's dealings with humanity as a whole found in the primeval history to a specific scope that narrows the focus to God's chosen people. The story of God's chosen people begins with Abram in the land of Ur. God told Abram, "Go to your country and your kindred and your father's house, the land that I will show you," and promises to make him a great nation with many descendants. Abram, who is 75, leaves with his wife Sarai and nephew Lot. Abram initially settles in Negeb, but travels to Egypt when a famine rages the land. While in Egypt, he stated that Sarai was his sister in order to preserve his own life. He believed that the Pharaoh would kill him and take his wife. The Pharaoh takes Sarai as his wife and gives Abram gifts, but then he is afflicted by God's plagues and finds out that Sarai is Abram's wife. He then sends them away.
Abram, Sarai, and Lot go back to the Negev, but after a conflict arises between Abram's and Lot's herdsmen, Abram and Lot separate. Abram goes to Canaan, while Lot goes to Sodom. Abram rescues Lot after Lot is captured in a war between the city-states of the area. As Abram is returning from the war, he meets Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of God, who blesses him. God then reiterates his promises with Abraham, reassuring him that he will make a great nation of him, with many descendants. Abraham questions God, since he and his wife are far past childbearing age. But God reassures Abram of his promise by telling Abram to cut a variety of animals in half, then passes between them.
Abram and Sarai take matters into their own hands. Sarai gives Abram her servant Hagar and has a son with her, who is named Ishmael. Sarai becomes angry with Hagar, and she flees. Abram is 86 at this point. God reiterates his promise yet again, and gives circumcision as a sign of it, and renames Abram to Abraham, and Sarai to Sarah. 3 men then visit Abraham at the oak of Mamre, and tell him that his son Isaac will be born in about a year. God vows to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, but Abraham intercedes, asking, "What if there are 50 righteous men in the city, or 40, 20, maybe even 10? Abraham then goes to Gerar in Negeb, where he meets Abimelech, and tells the same lie about his wife that he told Pharaoh in Egypt. God reveals the truth to Abimelech in a dream, and he sends them away. Then Isaac is born. Abraham is told to sacrifice Isaac and obeys, but is stopped by God while he is about to kill his son. Instead, God provides a ram for the sacrifice. Sarah dies, and Abraham is given land by the Hittites to bury her. When Isaac is older, Abraham sends a servant to find a wife for his son. While taking his animals to the well, he meets a woman named Rebekah. She waters his animals, and he gives her jewelry and takes her back as a wife for Isaac. Abraham dies at the age of 175 and is buried with Sarah.
The ancestral narratives of the Hebrew Bible served as a source of cultural identity for the Hebrew people. In order to better understand the role that the symbols of cultural identity play in the clan-based society, let's look at another historical example.
Ever since pre-classical times, Celtic peoples found throughout Europe have had a very family-based structure in their society. The word clan derives from the ancient Gaelic word, which means family or children. Since pre-classical times and up until the early modern era, Scotland was organised largely on a clan basis, with clan chieftains and subordinate landowners and tacksmen controlling the flow of income and the overall structure of society. This is very similar to what we observe in the ancient Near Eastern cultures. Much like the Scots relied on clan emblems and tartans and pipe tunes to remain autonomous and to promote a clan hegemony in society, ancient Near Eastern peoples used their origin stories as an identity, a source of description of their being set apart from the rest of the world. And as such, they were able to promote a cultural identity that centered around the idea of a clan. conclusion, the ancestral narratives portion of the book of Genesis constitutes a transition from the broader scope of history found in the primeval history, where God's dealings as a whole with mankind are focused on, to a more specific set of interactions with his chosen people, which begins with the story of Abraham. This story serves as a foundation for Hebrew society by describing its origins and also providing a basis of culture and a source of cultural identity.
Anyone want to go jump
I'll let
in
you know tomorrow.
Anyone want to jump in the breeches with me?
I mean, sure.
And now for the mandatory scene in the breeches.
Wait, there's one more scene I want to film.
Oh, what is it? Okay.
Yeah, good.
I know when you.
I'm recording.
What is it?
What'd you find? Oh.
Precious.
Oh.
That wouldn't be my phone, but
October breaches are very different from January breaches.
right then. Abraham and Lot separate. Abram goes to Canaan. Oh, I'm sorry. I've been saying Abraham instead of Abram. Let's start over. Arises between Abraham's and Lot's herdsmen. I'm still saying Abraham. I'm sorry.
Oh, when I breathe.
So I like how fire looks like fire.
I couldn't think of how to make this look like that.
It's like mold. It's decay.
Like, is that chromatin? Like, is that like the S phase of DNA replication? That's, I hate to break it to you, that only happens when things are alive.
At what point do I stop recording?
Oh, that's not what we want to happen. We want to have happen.
Is this good? Are we good?
More in!
Warren! Okay!
Alright.
Oh. I was ready.
Josh.
Elisa?
Have we started?
Yeah.
Okay.
Abram initially settled in Negative. That's why we talk down. As he travels to
What is this? We already filmed the fight scene. I'm sorry. Oh, is this Josh? I think it's. No, it's not my stuff. We just
I'm ready for the fight scene.
We might have another one. We could just have more.
Couldn't have told you earlier.
Negev.
Negev.